Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Well, in our last video, we try to talk directly to one of the voices out there that's spreading some hate and a lot of bit of misinformation, and hopefully maybe he saw it, maybe he learned something, maybe he might change his ways. I don't know. Maybe I wasted my breath, but hopefully someone else watched it that didn't know a few facts and learned from it. Well, we're going to cover some more ground today. So, here we go. So, as everyone is aware, there seems to be this national hysteria about transgender people, like we just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Never mind, we've lived around here for a long time. We've existed. We've always existed. We've been your friends. We've been your neighbors. We've been your co-workers. We're your fellow Americans. And yet somehow or another, you guys have decided we're not human beings and we don't deserve rights. I'm sorry, but last I checked, the Constitution did not exclude transgender people. It said that every American has the right, the absolute right, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Not only that, but we are guaranteed life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and you guys are trying to deny us that. And that ain't right. Frankly, it's un-American of you. It's sad. We live in a time where we have people that deny the Holocaust and seem to forget, why the United States went to war with Nazi Germany and who won that war, evidently. Okay, I'm not going to revisit history. But here's the thing. Throughout this whole discourse, and this has only been in the last 3 years, ever since that fucking South African Boer came over here with his $250 million and got Trump to stop talking about a stupid election loss, which he couldn't get over because he's fucking 3-year-old. You listen to this man. He had $250 million. And it seemed like all he did was probably just bitch and whine about his child, his own transgender child. And some would argue that, all of this is a result of his immaturity to have a decent civil conversation with his own transgender child. Okay, that might be the case. I think there's a lot that has to be said about that. But this goes back a little further, I think. Religious right has always been looking for ways to undo the LGBT community. They've been fighting forever to undo gay rights, in particular gay marriage. But they have a lot of money. And so does the gay community also has a lot of money. They have a lot of backers, especially here in Hollywood. But there's 19 million of them. And there's a lot of allies for them. So they make a formidable enemy. So they looked at things and they needed somebody to blame. At the same time, the gun lobby also needed someone to blame. If you recall, about 5 years ago, every time you turn on the late night news or, whatever, evening news, it was always a mass shooting. You heard about it every day. It was an epidemic. It still is an epidemic. You just don't hear about it. State-controlled media now. All of Trump's friends now own all the big major media conglomerates and the major stations. And that's no accident. Part of a larger agenda, okay? Now, you keep hearing about, the gay agenda, or now it's the trans agenda. It's the same fucking propaganda perpetuated by the same fucking people, okay? So, going back to that gun industry, all the Second Amendment people started to look like Looney Tunes as every time there was a mass shooting, the first thing they want to do is talk about protecting their rights and never mind the dead people and the dead children. And they didn't care about that stuff. All they cared was their own selfish needs to own a firearm, own a weapon of death, And so the gun industry, feeling the heat of all this thing, they needed someone to blame. And somebody, maybe it was from the religious right or wherever, decided, drag queen story hour. This is a great distraction. We'll get them off. We'll get them to stop talking about guns. We'll get them to stop talking about, repealing the Second Amendment. And so the right wing and the religious wrong, as I call them, all seemed to pull their forces together, and they went after drag queens. You know, drag queen story hour became an innocent little thing where, this wonderful people, to say the least, would entertain small children with reading them stories, something that conservative parents don't seem to really do much of. Unless it involves their religious dogma, of course. But here was the problem. In their quest to crush drag queens and stomp them out and demonize them, they couldn't find enough of them. And worse, just like the Viet Cong, they could just take off whatever, at the end of the night or a day, whatever, and blend into the population, and you didn't know who they were. So they turned to us, transgender people, because we live visibly. We live this life. We're not drag queens. This is my hair. These are my breasts. I got a few other things, but I'm not going to show you, and I'm not going to talk about it either. That's none of your business. But you guys, again, and this is largely about men. Men. Because, aside from the J.K. Rowlings of the world, you don't really hear or see much, outcry from women because, they're not interested in this stuff. And they don't want to get involved in this ugly shit. This shit that's perpetuated by men. Always been by men. It's kind of ironic that as you're coming after us, you're whipping up this hysteria with these bullshit lies. And you're getting people angry. You're getting them to come after us. And there are God knows how many fucking bills out there and new laws that have made our already difficult lives more difficult, unfairly and unjustly, I might add. And yet, this is all coming from men. Strictly men. And it seems like men seem to have the most problem. I mean, look at the visceral reaction when you talk about what exactly happens during sexual reassignment surgery. The minute you start talking about what happens to the penis, and how they reform that into the process of vaginoplasty, men get horrified and they feel threatened, and they start reaching for their nutsack, and they no, this can't be, and they get outraged, and they want to go find some maggots and beat them up. It's like, first off, you're going after the wrong people again. But hey, what do you expect from a bunch of knuckle dragging Cro-Mags out there that are just fueled on hate? They didn't get enough bullying when they were kids, because that's the thing. I mean, you want to deny trans people their right to exist, our right to freely express our identity, and yet you guys are the first people to validate us. Think about this. Go back to childhood. You were the first ones to call us girls. You identified us even before we were quite fully understanding what was going on with us. See, you love to say this is a passing fad. This is just all of a sudden there's transgender people. No. We've always been here. Not only that, but see, for most of us, and I say not everybody, but for most of us, we have what's called like an awakening. It's the first clue that we are different from everybody else. And, and the average age that this happens is about 4 or 5 years old. And from that point on, you just know that you are different. And, unfortunately, our enemies also noticed that we were different and singled us out. And thus, like for myself, I've talked with so many people out there that had similar experience. We were bullied. We were harassed, name called. We were beat up. A lot, actually. Chased. And, sometimes our homes were vandalized, and then later as we got older and became teenagers, you vandalized our cars, you trashed our lockers. You're always fucking coming for us. You fucking men. And then girls, I couldn't give a shit less, It wasn't their thing. But yet, all the time you were calling us girls, and now all of a sudden You want to call us men? Sorry, that ship sailed a long time ago. And frankly, you don't get to have it both ways. Well, this obsession, you guys are obsessed with us. And you keep talking about genitalia. It's an obsession. You don't hear women talk about genitalia. No, it's only men. You men who hate us, who tell the lies about us. I love it. It's like the other day, Joe Rogan was talking about, this big hairy man, muscle-bound Cro-Mag basically going in there slapping on a wig. And he's saying that that's average trans person going in there lusting after women in the bathroom. No, that's not us. No, you're mistaking us for something else, and that's not us. We don't do those things, okay? That's the reality. You guys are in love with the fantasy, The fantasy, and some of you guys, and I'm not gonna name names, okay? But some of you guys actually lust after us, It's like, god damn, trans porn popularity is at an all-time high. And it's all fucking white men, mostly, straight men, yeah. When I used to go out to the clubs in the 1990s, it was always straight men, especially ones with wedding rings. Y'all used to hit on me. I had some famous ones even hit on me. All you want us to do things with you. And then the minute you get off, you want to harm us. You guys can't have it both ways. Now, your obsession goes beyond genitalia. You're fucking stalking, cisgender women who may not fit your idea of what a woman's supposed to look like. You're following them in the bathrooms, you harass them. In some cases, you brutally beat some up really badly. What do they do to you? Nothing. They're women, Nobody deserves to be beat up, And frankly, the way I look, you wouldn't want me in the men's room. And frankly, I wouldn't want to be in a men's room. Last time I was in a men's room, I can't tell you how many times, some guy would come over and try to, fuck with me, and threaten me, Who wants to deal with that shit? I've never been threatened in a women's room, and I've never had an incident there. But, there's a few women out there, servile, and work basically tools of the patriarchy that you seem to want. You want to turn this country into a theocracy. You want to base, your wrath. You want to base it on some religious text, some dogma that a lot of us don't even believe in. Sorry. I don't buy into that fire and brimstone bullshit because I'm not a Christian. I left that shit a long time ago, being an ex-Catholic, And I'm frankly, I'm not taking no shit for no goddamn extraterrestrial or some holy book or whatever you want to deal with. That's your problem. That's not my problem. Don't make it my problem. We don't tell you how to live your life. Yet you guys feel you have the need, if not the divine right, to find ways to restrict our lives. That ain't right. You wouldn't like it if we did that to you. Granted, we don't have the clout or the political power to do that to you, but if the shoe were on the foot, you wouldn't like it. Yet you're doing it to us, and you're doing it willingly and obsessively. God damn, man. It's like, take for example, this whole thing, a year ago, vice president and this Dan Crenshaw guy, this fucking Cyclops dude, and both of these guys look like twins. They were the same build, same muscle mass, and they had the same beard, basically, and they were hosting a National Detransition Day. Nothing but men showed up to that damn thing. You had the 10 clowns out there that, couldn't hack it as a transgender, so they're out there traveling from event to event, and they're paid very handsomely, mind you, and it's how convenient they all have brand new Cybertrucks in their driveways. Yeah. Some even new houses. Yeah. Yet, because they couldn't hack it, they are going to speak and try to get you guys to sponsor bills to ban all care for the 3 million of us who can hack it. That shit ain't right. And you fucking know it. But there you go. You guys are obsessed with us, and you don't want to let it go. I mean, I don't understand. Why is it so goddamn important for you to want us to detransition? I mean, you didn't accept us as men or boys. You wouldn't let us in the boys club the first time around. And you know what? After 9/11 and things got so fucked up, you know, I actually did detransition, and it was miserable. I mean, had scores of medical problems. I mean, in and out of doctor's offices, a lot of illness, lots of problems. I mean, I never wanted to go through that in the first place, but you know, what happened happened. And now that I'm back, you know, during that time between, you know, transitions and prior, you know, people were cruel to me, mean to me, you know, nobody liked me, you know, everyone thought I was some kind of fucking joke kid, whatever, you know, and, you know, people were just fucking mean, you know, but as a girl, as a trans girl, I mean, okay, trans women are women, okay? Me, I don't particularly call myself women. I know I'm trans. I'm trans femme, which is a little different than your average trans, but, you know, me, my hyper femininity, you know, and I'll say this, and you must learn this, that femininity is not the sole domain of biological women. Fact. Just like masculinity, not every man has it. Some do, some don't. You know, clearly you guys that feel so goddamn insecure, yours is questionable, highly, seriously. I mean, why else would you hit on us or watch trans porn? But seriously, what does it matter to you if we transition or detransition? Why do you feel the need to do this? I mean, you not only have this failed event, and you have these fucking hacks going around trying to, you know, plead to and care for us, but you've managed to get this fucking ass clown in the White House to now mandate that people in prisons, you know, be forced to detransition. You know, you're gonna kill most of them, right? I'm certain you guys know this. You know, you're gonna kill most of them. You know, and the ones that don't die from having their hormones removed, you're gonna crush their spirit so hard they're going to kill themselves. You know, I mean, that will be on you, you know, and shame on you for that. You shouldn't do that to another human being. You know, how would you like it if we decided we're gonna take away your nutsack? You wouldn't like that very much, you know, but yet that's what you want to do to us, you know, in a figurative way. I mean, why does that matter? Why do you're not gonna just one day, you know, like if we did transition, you're gonna welcome us back as males, you know? You wouldn't do that. You didn't want us males in the first place. And here's another thing. What about those of us who have breast implants or penile implants? You know, you never pick on trans masks. You only focus on trans women. You didn't think of these things. What are you gonna do? You're gonna like force inject testosterone into us? That's so fucking evil and un-American of you to even think you're gonna force people to detransition by cutting off their meds. You're gonna kill a good number of people. These are your fellow Americans, you dumbasses. You know, you make all these stories about us, you obsess about us, and you still out there trying to perpetuate the myth that we are somehow a problem. And you've turned it into a national hysteria. But the truth is, there is a problem. There really is. And you know what that problem is? It's you. You, the cis white male. And a few brothers out there. You know who you are. You seem to have your male insecurity has driven you to the point you are so obsessed with us that you are determined to make our lives as impossible as can be, if not, destroy them. That is fucking evil. You know, why can't you just focus on your own goddamn life? Mind your own goddamn business. I mean, it's not that hard. It really isn't. Look, we don't do those things in bathrooms that you think we do. We don't look like the guys you describe. I mean, those are fucking straight males. This bullshit idea that there's a trend of transgender mass shooters. No. In the last few years, well over 4,000 shootings, and almost all of them, 98% of them, cis white males. Oh, you hate that word. It means comfortable in your own skin. It means you know who you are, you're cool with it, and you can't see yourself any other way. Me, I always knew I was supposed to be a girl, but it didn't work out that way. So, but my body kept saying, no. There's still a way. There's still a way. You can do this somehow. One day, you'll find the way. And I did. And I'm happy. I mean, people buy my groceries sometimes. People pay for my gas, People are nice to me. A lot of men open doors for me, and sometimes they'll even come to my defense. But, and scores of women all day long come up to me, pay me compliments, and it's wonderful. I mean, it's nice, people being nice, considering all the bad things we're hearing and the terrible things you're doing to our community. I mean, we didn't do anything to you, and yet you're coming at us. And this is all because you've invented a problem. I mean, may have started with gun lobby, may have started with Elon Musk, but you guys are carrying it now. So that falls on you. And it's not just that orange menace. See, all of you men who keep talking and obsessing with trans people and your hatred of trans people. Why couldn't you just do what you did before? You ignored us. You didn't think about us. Why can't you just do that? We don't think about you. I mean, we don't like some of you guys, but we don't spend our time, waste our lives obsessing with you. So, seriously, get a fucking life and maybe work on yourselves, I mean, build some fucking confidence. The real men in the world. And I know a few out there. They never have to raise their voice. They never have to harass anyone. They never have to flex their muscles or say, hey, look at me. I'm wealthy. Oh, look at me. I have the biggest car. I got the biggest cowboy boots, whatever, belt buckle. I have the most guns. No, real men don't do that. But you do. Seriously, we don't tell you how to live your lives. Don't tell us how to live ours. This has been David Death Dolly. Leave us the fuck alone. Thank you.